Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Thornhill, and welcome to Couch Readings, our live stream interactive table readings of short plays. During our reading, please join us in asking questions or observations in the comments, and we will do our best to involve you in our discussions after the reading. I'm excited to share with you our first live stream table read of Hold'em by Alex Broun. Hold'em is the story of a girl trying to live her late father's dream of playing Texas Hold'em in Las Vegas. We have two lovely Australian actresses with us to read for you today. My dear friends whom I've had the honor to direct in the past in our very cringe-tastic musical called Pop Stars, the 90s musical. They are also working together in the upcoming, beautiful The Carole King musical, scheduled for October 8th through the 11th with the Hornsby Musical Society at the Hornsby RSL Club. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Fernanda Murialdo and Elisa Vitaliani. Hi, girls.
Hi. How are you? Hi.
I'm good. How are you guys?
Wonderful.
Good.
Welcome to our couches.
Right,
Yeah.
Exactly. Why don't you guys go ahead and just take a minute to introduce yourselves? So we'll start with Fernanda.
Hi, everyone. My name is Fernanda Murialdo, and tonight I am playing Amari. And I am super comfy on my bed, not couch, but let's pretend it's the couch tonight. And enjoy.
Okay, Elisa.
Hey guys, I'm Elisa. Lovely to be working with Ryan and Fernanda again. We've had a really long professional relationship as well as friendship, so it's great to be on the couch in the Ugg boots, keeping the theatre alive in such a tricky time.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, thank you both for that. Let's go ahead and get into our reading. Now we'd like to present to you Alex Broun's Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em is a game with 7 cards. For those of you not in the know, it's a kind of poker, but it's not any kind. It is the most popular form of poker in casinos and card rooms across North America and Europe, and not just in casinos. It's online too. It's estimated about 6 million people play Texas Hold'em online every day. Many of them are girls and boys just like us.
Well, we're too young to go to the casino.
So if you hear the click-clack of the mouse coming from little Jenny or Johnny's room, don't get too worried. They're probably just on Facebook playing Texas Hold'em with
Japan from India.
and us from Saudi Arabia.
And Matthew from Pittsburgh.
Although little is known about the invention of Texas Hold'em, according to Wikipedia, the Texas State Legislature officially recognizes Robstown, Texas, as the game's birthplace. It's also where I was born. Something amusing you?
Nothing.
What?
Well, it's pretty obvious.
What is?
It's called Texas Hold'em. Pretty obvious it was invented in Texas.
See, this isn't going to work.
What?
It's not going to work if you keep butting in.
I'm not.
Yes, you are. We agreed you'd let me tell it.
I'm letting you.
Then stop butting in.
I just want to make sure you tell it right.
And I will, but you got to let me.
Okay.
Okay. Now, where was I? So I was in Robstown? Yeah. So Robstown. Yes, thank you. Robstown, Texas was the game's birthplace back in the early 1900s. After its invention in Texas, Hold'em was introduced to Las Vegas in 1967 by a group of Texan gamblers and card players, including Crandall Addington, Doyle Brunson, and Amarillo Slim. And that's where I come in. I named it after him, Amarillo Slim. But you can call me Amari. I guess my dad wanted a boy or something. What is it now?
You have to introduce me too.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Kelly Ann, and she ain't not named after nobody. Back to the story. I guess my dad wanted a boy, but then he thought, well, Amarillo can be a girl's name too. Which I guess it can, so he kept it. I mean, I kept it. You know what I mean. And that's all just history. What you want to know, though, is what makes Texas Hold'em so good. Much better than regular poker. When Crandall Arrington first saw Hold'em played in 1959, he said,
"They didn't call it Texas Hold'em at the first time. They just called him Hold'em. I thought then that if it were to catch on, it would become the game. Draw poker, you only bet twice. Hold'em, you bet 4 times. That meant you could play strategically. This was more of a thinking man's game."
I don't know about a thinking man's game or a thinking lady's game, but it's a good game. The 2 things that make it so good. First, it's bigger than regular poker.
But everything is.
What?
In Texas, everything is bigger.
In regular poker, you only get 5 cards, but in Texas Hold'em, you get 7. That's your cue.
What?
7.
7?
That's your cue for their,
Oh, sorry.
But you don't get all 7 cards at once. At the start, you just get dealt 2 cards.
Now?
Yes, Kelly A. Now. These are known as your whole or pocket cards. The best starting hand you can get is double aces, also known as pocket rockets.
Or American Airlines.
Then comes King.
King Kong.
And next,
ladies.
pair of queens. So once everyone has their 2 cards, then comes the flop. These are community cards, which means they're available to every player. The idea is to make up the best hand you can using your pocket rockets and what's on the table. But it's not done yet. Next up, the dealer gives you a 4th community card. This is called the turn.
Or 4th Street.
No, it ain't.
Yes, it is.
I never heard it called 4th Street.
Oh,
Who called it 4th Street?
If you don't believe me, look it up.
Okay. The 4th card is called the turn or 4th Street. This is a chance to use the 4 cards now on offer to everybody, with the cards you got in your hand to make an even better hand. But we're not done yet. There is one last community card, and this one is called
5th Street. It is. Look it up.
Okay. Some people, a very small some, may call it 5th Street. But the 5th card is more commonly known as, well, by the world, by lots and lots and lots and lots of people, as the river. And as a player, you can either hate it or you love it. And that changes all the time. It can either save you or kill you, depending on what you've got and what the other players around the table have got. So after the river is dealt, once more you calculate your best possible hand, and then comes in the showdown. This is when the last players remaining, the ones who haven't folded like a bunch of pussies, show their whole cards, and the player with the best hand wins the pot. That's the other great thing about Hold'em, the betting. Like old Crandall Addington said, in regular poker, you only get to bet 2 times, but in Hold'em, you get to bet 4 times. Raise you 50.
Raise?
I'm betting.
I didn't know we were betting. I just thought we were going to show the audience how to play.
We were, but I got such a good hand.
Ugh.
Perhaps jacks to 10s.
Aren't you going to tell him about your dad?
I'm getting to it. Well, my dad is the reason that I love Texas Hold'em and the reason I started playing. One of my oldest memories was toddling up to my dad on one of his poker nights. I must have been like 2 or 3 at the time, and I just learned to walk. Not sure what I was doing up, actually. It was way past my bedtime. But I walked in, and there was all these men crouched around a big old table playing Hold'em. And there in the middle of them was my dad. A huge, beaming smile on his face. I don't think I've ever seen him so happy. I found out later he was a terrible player. The world's worst bluffer. He was just too damn nice. He'd go all in on a pair of 6s, and the guy next to him with a flush to king would just be like about to fold, and Dad would say, no, stop. I only got a 6, a pair of 6s. Like I said, too damn nice. He'd lose all the money every single poker night. They were only playing for nickels and dimes, and it all went back into a glass jar at the end. But still, it was money. And he loved to play. And he sat there that night with his huge smile, gazing around the table at his poker buddies. There was Leo Badashi, who drove all the way from La Paloma.
How you doing?
Little Pete, who ran the gas station out on Highway 44.
Evening, everybody.
Big Tony, who was actually smaller than Little Pete. I really never understood that one.
I'm calling you Mick.
And that was the last of the quintet, Slick Mick, who never looked at all that slick.
And I'm looking you right back, Tony.
And then there was my dad, Grantham Morris Noble. Although everyone just called him Graf. He'd gone bust hours earlier, but he was still there smiling, just happy to be sitting at the table where people were playing Hold'em. Then he'd look down and saw me, and his smile got even wider. I don't even know if that was possible.
Here she is, my little Amy.
That's what he'd always call me, his little Amy.
The most beautiful girl in the world.
And then they'd all turn and look at me. All those big, red, sweaty faces staring straight down at me. I don't know if I've ever been so terrified in my life. And then I started coughing. Dad laughed, they all laughed. And then he swooped me down and picked me up with his big, soft hands and carried me into the lounge room where my mom was waiting. You see, that was it. The other poker tradition. They all smoked cigars. Big, fat stogies. They smoked them from the moment they arrived to the moment they left. Leo de Badashi, Little Pete, Big Tony, even Slick Mick. All except Dad, who never took a single puff. And of course, as life goes, he was the one who suffered. Secondhand smoke, lung cancer. In the ground by the time he hit 38, and I was just 7. Mom went very quiet after that. Everybody came into town for the funeral. All these poker buddies, Leo Badashi even drove over from La Paloma. But Mom never said a word to them, to anyone. She never said anything for 5 years. And then we moved here.
It's a good old Buffalo.
And then one day she started talking again. But I've never seen her or heard her laugh. I don't remember much that my father ever said to me, but I do remember one thing. A few years after that first night I was sitting on the floor under the poker table. That seemed to be my favorite spot to play, actually. Well, sitting under the table, listening to the cards being dealt on the table above me, the clinking of the nickels and the dimes, the ribbing, the laughter, the coughing. That was my dad. He was already getting sick. Couldn't they see what they were doing to him? Those big boneheads!
Amy.
What?
You shouldn't get angry like that. The counselor said.
I can get angry if I want.
Just tell him what your dad said.
Well, Dad lost again as usual, and he leant down and pulled me out from under the table, carried me back to Mom, and as he carried me through the house, he said,
Sometimes, Amy, the best hand doesn't win.
Sometimes, Amy, the best hand doesn't win. I can never forget that. I just wish I could remember more of what he said.
Tell him about your dad's dream.
I'm getting to it. Okay, so my dad's one dream was to go to Las Vegas to play Texas Hold'em at one of those fancy casinos. He was always saving up just to take us down there. Play one hand, but, he never got there. So that became my dream. I'd go to Vegas, play a hand in one of those fancy casinos, and I'd win. But first I had to practice. So I started playing, but always in secret. My mom saw me once, and she got all upset. Said it reminded her too much of Dad. So I never let her know I was playing. But I played, and I played, and I played.
And that's where I'd come in, finally.
Of course, I needed someone to play with, and I became friends with Kelly A.
We go to the same school.
So we'd sit on boxes at the back and play hand after hand. I'd always win.
Because you never told me the rules.
That's not true. You just couldn't remember them. So we'd play flushes, straight flushes, 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, full house.
Hey, what's better, a full or house, a flush or a straight?
I told you she couldn't remember.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying here.
Okay, now listen good, because this is the last time I'm going to tell you. The best hand you can get is a royal flush.
Which is?
Ace, king, queen, jack, and 10, all in the same suit.
Suit?
Symbol, spade, diamond, hearts, hit you with a club,
Oh, don't get mad.
You're getting mad. I just told you all of this 100 times before.
Oh, tell me again.
Okay. The best hand is a royal flush, then a straight flush. 5 cards of the same symbol in order. Say 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of diamonds. Next is a 4 of a kind, 4 eights, 4 queens. After that comes a full house, 3 of a kind and a pair, 10, 10, and a 6, 6. Then you got a flush, 5 cards of the same suit, a straight, 5 cards in order, but not of the same suit, 3 of a kind, 2 pair, 1 pair, and a high card.
High card?
If that's all you've got, you don't want to still be in. Trust me.
And then one day, we heard about the tournament.
I heard.
Amy, we both heard. I was there. You know it.
You weren't.
Well, why you gotta be so mean sometimes?
I'm not mean. It's just that I heard. All right. We heard about the tournament. It was the anniversary of Dad's death. On that day, every year, all of his old poker buddies would call Mom.
Guilt is a powerful motivator.
Mm-hmm. Kelly A was there too, and we were both lying on the floor in the lounge room watching the TV. I think Batman or Get Smart was on. On that day, every year, all of his old poker buddies would call Mom. And so she was on the phone with Leo Badacci.
There's a big tournament, Rose.
He was saying.
Play your way to Vegas.
My ears started burning. I wasn't watching the TV anymore.
So me and the boys are gonna go down to Vegas for Gray. Make his dreams come true.
And I was thinking, you're not going to Vegas. If anyone's going to live out Dad's dream, it should be me. Not one of them fat old cigar-smoking bastards that killed him. I was thinking it. I didn't say it. I was just laying there pretending to watch Maxwell Smart in my very own cone of silence. Then later, Kelly A looked it up on Mom's computer. She's good at that stuff.
Oh, you're good too.
Not as good as you.
So I Googled, play your way to Vegas. And there it was, an all-expenses-paid trip to Las Vegas for every state winner.
And better still, there was a junior section.
They like developing the next generation of casino clients nice and early.
The winning boy and girl under 18 would also get a trip to Vegas. This was a dream come true. My dad's dream come true.
But you have to win the competition first.
Piece of cake. So we practiced and practiced and practiced even harder.
Amy, I gotta go home.
Just another hour.
It's cold, and there's things crawling around in here, and my mom will be getting worried.
Well, you've missed dinner before.
Amy, dinner was 5 hours ago. It's almost midnight.
Then there was a bit of a hang-up with the school principal.
No pupil of mine is going to play in a poker tournament.
Luckily, Miss Lehman, our American Studies teacher, she's actually pretty cool. Well, she talked the principal into it.
In coming to a fuller understanding of modern-day culture, it's important to understand the significance and place of society of poker in all of its variants.
How could you say no to that? But there was one small hitch. The principal had one condition. Another student had to play in the tournament. That way he could pass it off as official school activity. Not just giving Miss Lehman and me what we wanted. And I had the perfect stooge.
You want me to play in the tournament?
Come on, Kelly, it'll be fun.
Fun? It won't be fun sitting in a room with hundreds of people watching me at a table with people I don't know. People who'll laugh at me when I don't know that straight flush beats three of a kind. That's not fun.
It does.
What?
Straight flush does beat three of a kind.
But I don't know that.
Come on, we get to go to the Big Apple.
Oh, New York. I'd love to go back to New York.
Yeah, lots of shops, fun stuff.
Okay, but if I look really stupid, it's your fault.
You don't need any of my help to look stupid. So, the tournament was in a month's time, so we practiced even harder, if that was possible. Then one day, we drove out of Buffalo, and we were going to New York with Miss Lehman as chaperone. See? Everyone wins. Mom didn't want to come. She was okay with me going, living Dad's dream and all, but she just didn't want to be a part of it. So we arrived at the tournament. It was at this huge convention center. And as we walk in, we had to register and sign in as official players. Then we walked onto this huge sign saying 88.com, play your way to Vegas. Got to plug those sponsors, right? And into this huge room full of so many poker tables. If only Dad could see me now. I'm really playing. And then a man came over with a clipboard, looked at the number on my chest, number 532, table 23. Then he looked at Kelly A, number 533, table 6. Kelly A wasn't happy.
But no, we can't be on different tables. She's my friend. We always play together.
You'll be okay, Kellyanne.
But I don't know how to play.
Sure you do. Just remember what we practiced. Okay, so table 23 looked really mean. All boys, and if they were under 18, then I'm still a toddler. One of them even sniggered as I sat down. Weren't too many girls at this tournament either. They looked mean, but it soon became clear that they all came in on the last bus from Palookaville. Because I was a girl, they thought that I'd be a soft touch, and they focused on knocking me out first. With bluff, even my dad could spot. As for strategy, I favored the Doyle Brunson approach. Tight and aggressive. You don't play many hands, that's tight. But then when you do, you bet and you raise often. Aggressive. Couple of hands in, I got the big slick. Ace of king with the heart. Ace, king of hearts. Then the flop. Another ace and a pair of kings. Full house. Nice. The superstar opposite me tries to fool me into thinking he's got 4 kings. Only problem is that I'm holding on to one. He goes all in, I call, and the smile disappears from his face real quick. His trip to the Big Apple is a very short one indeed. The other ones go down pretty much the same until I'm left with this scrawny kid with big black glasses from Amsterdam. He's looking at his cards very hard, concentrating. I know what he's doing. There's this oddball theory that you can develop a mathematical formula to win at Hold'em. No chance. There's actually a group of scientists at the University of Alberta, in Alberta, who are
in Canada.
Yes. Well, in Canada, they are developing a poker playing program utilizing techniques in game theory and artificial intelligence. Crazy Canucks. All they need to do is come and see me. I'll tell them what they need to know. Well, this kid from Amsterdam is trying to finish the theory off all by himself. He's crunching figures so fast I see the smoke coming out of his ears. In the end, he's a total brain explosion, goes all in with a pair of 6s and a pair of 8s. I call and the table's mine. Round 2 goes pretty much the same. At the table, there's this redhead from Rochester. She actually knows what she's doing. Maybe had a dad who played too. It comes down to us. I keep raising her, and in the end, the tension breaks and she goes all in with a pair of Ks. Only problem is, I got 3 Js. Buffalo beats Rochester. Again. Then it's the end of the first day. Already. I walk out into the foyer and Miss Lehman and Kelly A are waiting. I'm thinking, they've been doing some sightseeing. You two have a nice afternoon.
What do you mean, Amy?
Do a bit of shopping. Take a look around.
I did, but Kellyanne was playing.
You made it through the morning?
And the afternoon. Both you girls will be playing tomorrow.
I was thinking, man, the players on her table must have been hopeless. But I congratulate her all the same. That's great, Kelly A.
I got lucky.
You can say that again. Well, where are we going for dinner, miss? Can we go to the casino? Maybe watch some real games?
No, we're going back to the hostel. Get an early night. Big day for you girls tomorrow.
And so it arrived. The day when I was finally booking my trip to Vegas. The day Dad's dream would come true. In May. Just 8 tables left in the morning. The winners go through to the final table. And on this second morning, these kids, they're good. Whew. They're all playing very tight and mean. They get big and fast and start clicking their fingers if you take too long. I even lose a couple of hands, and the boy from Brooklyn opposite me keeps staring straight through me as if I'm already heading home. But then I get lucky. Pocket rockets. American Airlines. Thanks, Dad. Either flop has another ace, and I'm sitting pretty. Someone else is feeling pretty good. Another girl, this time from Queens. And she goes all in, but I can cover her. So I do. The turn is a 7, and the river is a 7 as well. The cool boy opposite goes all in too. He's got a full house. But I've got the aces. I push my chips in, and for a split second, I have a moment of doubt. Have I thought this through? Has someone got a pair of 7s? Oh, crap. Is that why he's smiling? He's got 4. He's got a full house, 7 to aces. Whew. Only problem is I've got aces to 7. Oh. He folds it, throws it out. And there you go. Don't you hate that? His face looks like it just melted. The Queen's girl has a flush to jack, but that ain't gonna do her any good. 2 down, 6 to go. After that, everyone on the table looks at me different. The boy I knocked out with the pocket rockets must have been some kind of legend or something up in Junior Hold'em. His legend ended right there. I keep folding, let them fight it out between themselves. Then it's just me and a chubby boy from Yonkers. I burn him off slowly. And my seat in the final table is booked. The final table is set up like a little stadium, lights and raised seating all around. So all the girls who got knocked out can watch. Even the camera from ESPN. So I made it to the final table.
I made it to the final
table. Did you?
Table.
You're kidding.
Looks like all that practice paid off.
I smile like Kelly 8. That's great. She made the final table. Something to tell the other kids back at Buffalo. That's nice. I'm a better teacher than I thought. But her journey ends here, like the rest of these palookas. I'm looking around the table, and I'm feeling very confident. They don't look like much. The best player was a boy from Brooklyn that I knocked out last round. I get the feeling my work here is done, but I remember my dad's words.
Sometimes, Amy, the best hand doesn't win.
And I wipe the smile off my face, play some poker. The boy on the right looks like a junior version of Leo Badashi, red, sweaty face. All he's missing is the cigar, and he goes out almost as quick. So does the boy from Uptown, the girl from Downtown, the boy from Hicksville. Soon it's just me, a girl from the Hamptons, 2 boys from Long Beach, and Kelly A. Still hanging in there somehow.
And I'm hating every second of it. I didn't even want to come to the damn tournament. Now I'm playing on the final table. I tried to get knocked out at every table I played, but every time I went all in, someone else folded, and then the one person who did call my bluff had a worse hand than me. Now I was sitting here with everyone watching me playing against Ami. I looked across at Miss Lenham, and she was smiling at me, encouraging me. But my hands were sweating so much I could hardly hold the cards. All I wanted to do was go to the bathroom and be sick. I was just waiting till Amy had a good hand, then I could give my chips to her. So I didn't give them to the other players.
The rich kid from the Hamptons was next, and it was down to the girls from Buffalo versus the boys from Long Beach. Winner takes all. And the best thing was I hadn't even had to do anything. I'd just been sitting there playing nice and safe, and they were falling like flies. Soon my big hand would come, and I'd be on my way to Vegas, sitting with Dad at the Casino Royale. And the very next hand, it came. The big slick ace and king of spades. I had a feeling this was it. I raised you 100.
I called. Amy had something. All I had was a pair of 2s. At least I could get out.
The boys from Long Beach called as well. I was so close. The flop, jack of spades, 2 of diamonds, 6 of spades. 1 more spade and I was home. One of the Long Beach boys liked his hand as well and raised 500. I called, so did Kelly A.
Oh, please win the hand, Amy. I want you to get the chips, not him.
The turn. 10 of spades, a flush to ace. No one was going to beat that. Well, Dad, sometimes the best hand does win. And I had it. All in.
She's got the flush, thank God.
I look at the boy from Long Beach. I was trying to look like, nervous and edgy, like, I wasn't sure. But my head was thinking, go all in, go all in. And he did. Probably had a 2-pair, maybe even 3 of a kind. At best, he had a flush as well, but not to ace. The other boy folded. Very smart. I look over at Kelly A, and she let out a big sigh of relief.
I was looking at Amy. She gave me a little smile. I knew what that meant. She had the flush. At last, it was almost over. Here's your chips, Amy. All in.
That's very nice of Kelly A. She's a true friend, giving me all her chips like that. Then it was just a matter of time. Turn over the river. Give me the money. Then it just came to me and that last loser from Long Beach. Be on my way to Vegas very soon. The dealer flipped. Doesn't matter if it was a spade. I had the ace. I was home. 2 of hearts. The pot was mine.
Oh, no.
Long Beach boy flipped over his cards. Jack and a 6. A 2-pair. He went all in hoping for the full house. Pretty big risk.
No.
I flip over mine and watch his face fall, reaching out for my chips. And then I stopped. Kelly A was just sitting there frozen. It's okay, girl. Throw them in. It's over.
No.
What was up with her?
I hadn't even looked at the cards. I was so happy to see Amy raising, so desperate to get off the table.
What's the matter, girl? Throw them in.
I couldn't. Not that.
And then she just let her cards drop onto the table. They sort of fell out of her hand. One, then the other. A pair of 2s. You got a pair. Good for you. Then a cold shudder goes through me.
I'm so sorry, Amy.
I look up at the flop, and there between my spades is the 2 of diamonds. And then I look at the river, the other deuce. She's got
4 of a kind. I'm so sorry, Amy.
I'm so shocked. I can't speak or move. I don't move for a long time. In the end, Miss Lehman has to come and just take me away from the table. I look over at Kelly A, and she's crying. I sit in the sand next to Miss L and just stare into space.
I'm crying so much I can't even see the cards. What have I done? I didn't even want to play in the tournament. Now I've knocked Amy out. It was her dream to play in Vegas, and I've knocked her out. I'm crying so hard I can't even see the cards. The next hand, the last boy from Long Beach goes all in, and I call. He wins a full house. I don't even have a pair. It's all over, and Miss Lenham takes us back to Buffalo. It's a 7-hour drive. No one says a word.
Now, I finally understand what Mom felt when Dad died. You don't say anything because the words have no point. Nothing has any point. You just sit there and stare into space. My dad had just died all over again, all because of Kelly A and her pair of deuces. I even stopped playing poker. The summer after that, Kelly A and her family moved away. I never even said goodbye. But many years later, I did get to Vegas. It was a business trip. I found an escape from poker in work. Usually it's the other way around. But for me, it was work, and I actually became pretty successful. I was down in Vegas for a convention, and one night I wandered past the Casino Royale. I walked in, just to have a look. And there they were, hundreds and hundreds of Hold'em tables, and all of them I'll play a hand just for Dad. I sat down at the nearest table and bought some chips. The croupier handed them to me and called all bets. Hey, I know that voice. I looked up. It was Kelly A. I played for a while and then another dealer arrived. Kelly A got from the table and I cashed in all my chips and followed her. I found her standing out back smoking a cigarette. Kelly A?
Hi, Amy.
I didn't think you'd remember me.
From the moment you sat down.
Smoking will kill you, you know.
Thought you'd be pleased about that.
It was years ago.
10 years.
10 years, 8 weeks, 4 days. See, I don't think about it at all. What are you doing here?
My family moved here.
I didn't know that.
I thought you wouldn't want to know.
I never saw you working in a place like this.
Neither did I. One thing, there isn't a shortage of, in Vegas, people who want to play cards, but there is a shortage of people who want to deal them.
I always thought you'd be a doctor or a lawyer or something.
So did I.
What happened?
I broke my friend's heart 10 years ago, and try as hard as I could, I just couldn't ever forgive myself. I'm sorry, Amy.
It's a game of cards. It wasn't your fault.
But it was your dream.
No, Kelly A. It was my dad's dream. And anyway, here I am, 10 years later, living his dream.
Bit late.
Never too late. And besides, I got to live out a dream of my own.
What was that?
To find you again. I missed you, Kelly A.
Oh, I missed you. I finish in another hour. Can you come back then? I got so much to tell you.
Sure, as long as you promise not to smoke.
Texas Hold'em is a game with 7 cards.
It's a game that dads dream about.
And a game that can split friends apart.
And bring them back together.
And it's much better than regular poker.
Much.
Wow, very good job, guys. How was that? How'd that feel?
That was great. That was lots of fun.
Good, good. Okay, so now normally at this point, we would have the playwright join us to discuss the process and answer any questions they may have about the reading. But since this is our first reading, we unfortunately do not have the playwright with us. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and discuss with Fernanda and Elisa their thoughts and ideas on their character. And our audience out there, just remember, if you have any thoughts or questions, please add them to the comments and we'll do our best to try and respond. All right, so just a few questions for you two. Let's go ahead and start with Fernanda. Just describe your character's journey. Where did they start and where do they end?
Okay, so Amari is a bit of a bully. She's very determined and assertive. After, I guess, losing her dad, she's kind of replaced her idea of him through, I guess, poker. As the game progresses, though, she does develop a friendship with Kelly A, but it's a bit one-sided.
Okay.
And I think she progresses through by letting go of. Oh, I've lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
What was I thinking? So yeah, I'm kind of still in the script at the moment. But what I see her is that she's basically developed into like this big bully. She's very determined. She at the very beginning, and then as time goes on, she develops this awareness that her dad is right. The hand that you're given isn't the hand that you just isn't always the best hand, but you kind of take advantage of what you have. And when she got Kelly A in that mix, she didn't appreciate who she was in her hand, in her life. And it wasn't until she lost the game and lost Kelly A that she actually realized that even though initially she thought this girl is just a random, that I can just kind of use, she actually became a very solid feature. She became her ace, really, the one person that she really needed.
Very true. Very true. All right, Elisa, same question to you. Just the character's journey, where they started and where they ended.
Yeah. I feel like my character didn't really have and these are all the perceptions that we can put on our characters, on reflection. But I feel like my character didn't have a stable home life. Perhaps she didn't have quite a lot of role models. I mean, if someone that's, underage is staying at a friend's place till midnight and the mum doesn't care, it's a little tricky. So I feel like she kind of developed a sense of purpose and a sense of security in her friendship with Army. And she just wanted to do anything to make her happy. And that, comes from a little bit of, not having anyone kind of, secure in their life. And so the one person that is secure, they want to make sure that they're impressing them and, making sure that they're doing everything possible to make them happy. So she did everything that she possibly could. And the one thing that was out of her control and that she didn't want to do ended up ruining the friendship, or so she so perceived. So I feel like where Army had kind of held on to her dad's dream until that point of the card game, that's where the tables turned. And that's where Kelly then held on to that for the rest of her life. So there was kind of like this switch in characters. Their fates kind of swapped, where Kelly wasn't able to move on from, what had happened in the past. So perhaps it's, character development in Fernanda's case, and a little bit of regression in regard to my character. But it was nice that there was a resolution in the end.
Very good. Just real quickly before we jump to the next question, I just want to throw out a couple things for each of you. Fernanda, it's impressive just to see how much you can take a slightly boring game of cards and just seem so excited about it. So that was fantastic. That was wonderful. And then Alisa, just the wittiness of the quick changes of the costumes just really added. It added that comic touch that it needed, and it was just so funny. So great job.
I think the funnest one is Leo Badashi in like a little bit of a Joey from Friends kind of how you doing.
Yeah. That's the first thing I thought whenever I read that line as well. Okay, so now when you're given a script like this, when you have no contact with the playwright, how do you go about approaching preparing the character? Like, have you thought about their lives before the story starts, and then what happens after the story ends? Go ahead, Fernanda.
Yeah, look, back to a little bit backwards with her character development. I think I thought more of where she ended up as opposed to where she was. So with all the skills that she developed from her dad and poker playing, towards the end, she says she actually became quite successful in business and in work, and then kind of drowned herself in work. And it seems that that's her personality. So that real obsessive and I've got to be the best at this, and that skill from poker, she kind of pushed it on into her work life, and that's why she did become so successful. Touching back with what Alisa said about her parents being a bit absent, I think they both had very absent parents and so then they had to kind of build that resourcefulness. And Kelly A was still very resourceful. Even though she doubted herself, she absorbed everything to survive a tournament and get to the end and almost win it. So that's the difference. Amari had that self-confidence already in her, and she was using that, whereas Kelly A was developing it, but kind of keeps squashing herself. And not having a dad and then a mum that didn't speak for 5 years, Amari had to fight. So she was a fighter. That's how I always see her at school. I see her as the kid that if people were going to pick on someone, she'd go up and just be like, don't speak to them like that kind of thing. And that's probably why she didn't have a lot of friends either.
Correct. Yep. Great. Okay, Alisa, same question.
I think just going back a step as well, how do we approach a script, and how do we develop the characters ourselves? I love that what we're doing at the moment is just these preliminary reads, and the beauty of having something so raw is that all of the fresh ideas come into your head and you don't overthink it. So in the first 3 or 4 reads that you do, and this is like me with any other kind of script that I work on, is in the first 3 or 4 reads, you really don't overthink it. So you don't overthink if you're playing it right or if you're not playing it right. So at the moment, it's just bringing fun and life to a script. And later on, the more that you're able to obviously learn about the character and learn about, or put your own perception on how the character should be played, that's when you kind of start to tweak those perfect little things. Personally, I think for Kelly A's character, I think her characterization is just that little bit of comic humor and that comic relief throughout the play, because it is so heavy with just like boom, 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 cards, cards, cards. So it was a really fun role to play, and I think the more that it would work on it, you know, I'd be able to give that character a little bit more depth. But for what we're doing at the moment, it was lovely just to have these fresh ideas popping about and, you know, just give it the beautiful freshness that it deserves. Yeah.
Well, that's the best part about taking something like this. You know, whether it was done once or twice before, it's not something like watching Doubt on Broadway or, you know, any new musical on the West End where you have these preconceived notions because you know so much about it. And then when you play those characters, that's when sometimes you can get into your head. But when you're like taking this from, like you said, Elisa, such a raw spot, it's so nice because you don't overthink it in your head. You just have fun with it, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also like that it's quite unknown. So like there's, like you said, there's zero expectation. So whoever's hearing this for the first time, like we've run it maybe a couple times just to get a bit of a flow, but really what you're seeing is, and what you're experiencing is what we're experiencing as we're saying it. So it's really cool to see. It's a challenge, don't get me wrong, because like those monologues, I was stumbling on them something severe today, but it's so much fun when you get through it and you're like, damn it, I got there in the end. So or when like Kelly A's little quick costume change happened and it was just so fly. Like it's so good.
Right.
I think also we're really blessed at the moment, while everything is quiet and while all the theatres are down. I think it's really wonderful to be able to show people, and you know, you look at the current environment at the moment, people are getting out colouring books and they're learning how to colour again and paint again, and everyone's becoming creative, but they're all learning that skill from the beginning. And this is a really great aspect of the theatre to show the greater community. This is how it starts. It doesn't start with you busting into the first rehearsal, knowing all your lines, you know, being able to sing it perfectly. It starts raw, and it builds, and that process in itself is so beautiful and so important to the current, you know, entertainment industry, which is obviously having a severe whack at the moment. But it's important to keep each stage alive. You know what I mean? Like when everything goes back to normal, we're not going to jump straight back onto stages. Everyone's going to start working. Yeah. So it's great.
Oh, well, thank you guys so much for being here today. It's been so much fun. It's been amazing to work with you two again. And, you know, I look forward to hopefully doing it again soon. Okay.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Wonderful job.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.
On behalf of myself, Fernanda, and Elisa, I would like to thank you for joining us today for our first couch reading. And don't forget to mark your calendars for Beautiful, the Carole King musical, October 8th to the 11th. And please join us again next week for our next couch reading. Follow Thornhill Theater Space on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to keep up to date. Again, thank you for joining us and have a great day.